Today we are revealing and reviewing the mightiest meta deck at Arena Championship 11. Hello, it's me, it's CGB, and today we are going to be playing this mono green landfall deck that has absolutely popped off and taken over the Arena Championship meta. The standard meta game for Arena Championship 11 has this at 21.8% of the field, which is a surprise, as it didn't perform nearly as well at the Pro Tour Lorwyn Eclipsed. But enough players have revised it and said, you know what? I think this is the way. This is the aggressive deck that can get the job done, and they've tuned the list to quite an extent, honestly. When you look over the list, there are plenty of one-ofs, plenty of little selections to make the deck just hum a little bit better. They've gotten the land count just right, as we look down here and see 26 lands. So, does mono green landfall have what it takes to take home the Arena Championship? We're gonna find out in this weekend. So let's look over the deck and go card by card on what makes this tick. And I'm gonna start in the spots that people often take for granted. The lands. This deck is all about lands. You want to hit your land drops and do that consistently. This deck has 13 basic forests, which does matter, and we'll get into why. 3 Bossing Say, a land that lets you earthbend other lands, which gets you a way to make a creature and give it haste, since earthbending hands out haste almost by nature. Absolutely by nature. Escape Tunnel. This can be sacrificed to give a creature with power 2 or less unblockable this turn. So it is a way to sneak past the opponent's defenses while also making multiple land drops. Don't run Evolving Wilds, guys. Run Escape Tunnel. 4 copies of Fabled Passage. This one really makes the deck tick because it gets a land that's untapped. And Promising Vein, a little bit of a surprising cave that we have here that we can sacrifice to search for a basic land and put on the battlefield tapped. But it does just tap for colorless mana the turn that you play it, which makes it very good with cards that earthbend, like Earthbender Ascension and Badger Mole Cub, both 4x copies in the deck. Obviously, Badger Mole Cub is a card that the meta revolves around. But in this deck, Badger Mole Cub is just part of the engine, not the whole thing, which is what made the Cub decks very vulnerable at Pro Tour Lorwyn Eclipsed. This card, Earthbender Ascension, really makes the deck hum. So when it enters, you Earthbend 2, hopefully onto a land you can also sacrifice to get more landfall triggers in the future. And with landfall, if you get 4 lands to put quest counters on this, then you start putting +1/+1 counters on your creatures and giving them trample until end of turn. The trample is huge because we are a Mightform Harmonizer deck. This deck wants to set up the dominoes where we can get multiple landfalls in one turn with a Mightform Harmonizer on the field, making one of our creatures gigantic and trampling so that you can end the game in one giant punch. Mightform Harmonizer made waves at Pro Tour Lorwyn Eclipse for the Teamer combo deck, but this is a more straightforward version that sets up with its earthbended lands and it's just multiple land triggers, and then tries to get it all into a place where the opponent just can't avoid taking a huge amount of damage. Ice Still Explorer helps with that. This lets you play an additional land on each of your turn and play lands from your graveyard. So you get to reuse those 10 fetch lands that we talked about earlier. Also, whenever you hit a landfall, you mill a card, which can come up when it comes to Esper Origins. Just a one-of copy in the deck, but it does give you some graveyard synergy and a little value boost when you're flashing it back. Glimpse the Core also involves the graveyard because it can return Promising Vein, which is a cave, from the graveyard to the battlefield to set up more future landfalls. But as just a one-of, these play a small supporting role in the deck. Other supporting roles include Archdruid's Charm, which lets you go get a Harmonizer, a Cub, a Chocobo, or whatever it is that you think you need, while also interacting with pesky artifacts and enchantments. It can also turn into a bite spell, putting a counter on one of your creatures and killing off an opposing creature. 2 Mossborn Hydras are in the main deck to just removal check your opponent. If they don't have it, they're probably taking way too much damage and dying. A Lumbering World Wagon is another sweet way to get around sorcery speed board wipes with Mightform Harmonizer. A Lumbering World Wagon plus Harmonizer can kill incredibly quickly, often seemingly out of nowhere. Then down in the 1-drops, of course we run Llanowar Elves. Of course we run Saz's Chocobo. This deck isn't about protecting your threats as the earlier versions of the landfall deck was. You will use Snakeskin Veil and things like that to keep your cards from getting hit by removal. This deck doesn't bother with that. It just removal checks your opponent constantly, and as soon as they tap out or don't have it, the Harmonizer makes whatever creature you have sitting around pop off for a win. So having 8 early threats that the opponent needs to do removal on right away really helps the deck. Now, if going tall doesn't work, if the Harmonizer thing doesn't work, if they actually remove all your stuff, this deck also can go wide, and that's where all those basic forests come in. Sapling Nursery is a new one from Lorwyn Eclipse that has affinity for forests, so it costs 8 mana, but it's cheaper for each basic forest you have, which is huge. And whenever a land you control enters, make a 3/4 Tree Folk creature token with reach. It's a Tree Folk factory that lets you create a whole bunch of creatures using all those built up landfall triggers, which can also win the game. You can also exile this to give your Tree Folk and forest indestructible until end of turn, which helps you play around some of those board wipes. And it's kind of awesome that it's all built into one package here with the Sapling Nursery. Moving to the sideboard, we have one of the better 1-mana fight spells ever printed because it's on an aura. An aura that gives an enchanted creature +0/+2, and it can't be blocked by more than one creature. But it also creates a fight when it enters, so this is cheap removal in the deck. Soul Guide Lantern, as little one of, can get those pesky graveyard decks. And a Keen-Eyed Curator is here to help with that as well. You might as well also have a creature version of Graveyard Hate in the sideboard, so you can go fetch it with an Archdruid's Charm, giving you virtually a few more copies. Origin of Metal Bending is a cheap artifact or enchantment removal that is also protection. Paw Patch Formation as a 2/of is a proven sideboard card since it was released in Bloomburrow. And then Torpor Orb shuts down, enters the battlefield, triggers. That's a little wild considering what our deck is up to, as it turns off our Badger Mole Cubs. But when you look at the rest of the deck is about when lands enter, not when creatures enter. And that makes Torpor Orb much more palatable against decks that are trying to use enters the battlefield abilities constantly. It's also not even bad against elementals, even though elementals then become 2-mana giant 5/5s in the case of Deceit. Your creatures tend to get much bigger, so you're not even too afraid of those elemental decks if you play a Torpor Orb. 2 more Mossborn Hydras go into the spots where the opponent's removal might be a little light. If they're relying on, say, a few bounce spells as a removal option, like the elemental deck does, more Mossborn Hydras can take over the game. Asaruk Elusive Hunter is a legendary way to draw cards and play around counterspells, and a Vivian Reed just throws me back. This Vivian Reed I haven't actually seen on the board in quite a while. I played the format when this was new in M19, and I just love her. But she interacts well with artifacts, enchantments, flyers, much like Paw Patch Formation, but also is a value engine. So very cool to see her hanging out in a sideboard, and I believe she was reprinted in Foundations, and that's how we got her into Standard. Guys, do you like making lands enter the battlefield? Do you like making lots of Tree Folk? Do you like making funny numbers of power to hit the opponent with? Well, this is the deck for you. We talked about what's in it. Now we're going to show you how to play it, and you might even pick up some tips on how to play against it. So let's dive in and let the nonsense begin. First opponent coming right up. Turn 1 Elf, turn 2 Cub, turn 3 Harmonizer. It can't be bad. How big can we make a Cub off something like this? Pretty big, right? Let's see what happens. This can be turn 1 Elf. Hello, affinity for forests. Okay, does the opponent have the removal immediately? It appears that they do. And we have the top matchup from Arena Championship. Number 11, the number 2 most played deck in the room at 18%, is it Lessons? So that might be interesting here. Although that Demolition Field says this is not the typical Is It Lessons. You do not see that too often. I wonder what they're up to. Well, I would really like to cub onto something like a Fabled Passage to create more land drops. We could do that if we wait a turn, especially with them holding priority. Let's pass. Okay, see, they have something. That's probably a removal spell. I'm just going to wait. Oh no, it's Abandoned Attachments. Okay, but we might get more action out of our Cub this way. So let's see what happens. Otherwise, we risk having a turn 3 where nothing happens if they just remove the cub. And now they have a blue mana open, and they're passing the turn. We draw Bossing Say. The escape tunnel can help us get through, but I think here we'll just Earthbend onto it if given the opportunity. They do have a demolition field that could point at the escape tunnel. That's interesting. But if they do, I just sacrifice this in response and they're down a land and they don't deal with the cub on time. So I think that's fine. Hey. I think I just want to Earthbend, sack this tunnel, and go get another forest. But the opponent's got their lesson package completely running here. And we're going to have to figure out how to keep up with it. Gran is here. The accumulating of wisdom has occurred. 2 firebending lessons. But no monument yet, which is their engine. That the demolition fields are throwing me off. They really do make me wonder if there's something else to this deck. So here on end step, we're going to Earthbend our escape tunnel. Go get another forest onto the field. Reduce the cost of the sapling nursery. And then think about if it's time for an Ice Till Explorer. I think it is. The Chocobo comes down a little late if we do that. It would be nice to play the Chocobo first, and we could make the Chocobo pretty large here. But once again, they have mana open, and they probably have spells to pay. But this plays around Quench, and that'll quench is a pain in the neck. So let's drop this card. And the Passage. And we're threatening to make a good-sized little Chocobo. And also possibly get them with the Harmonizer if they don't have mana open. 2 wisdoms is... It's a lot. It's a lot of wisdom. We do have the unblockability from Escape Tunnel on tap, though. Let's see what they do. Combustion Technique. This does 7 to it, so no amount of sacrifice there is going to help. As we are getting absolutely devoured by lessons here. I feel fully preyed upon, to be honest. It's probably going to take a nursery, so let's go ahead and get the tapped forest, but hold this Fable Passage to go with a landfall trigger. I mean, every time I try to do something, they draw 3 more cards. It's a little triggering to me. I wonder why they did that now. They have to discard now. Even their demolition field tech is going to answer the Bossing Say, which is very, very frustrating. All right. Do I have to worry about Quench here? I feel like I have to worry about Quench here. We could go for Cub, Earthbend here. That gets us another land. I do have Harmonizer, but they just won't stop leaving their mana open. Yeah, I feel like I need to play the Ice Till, even if they are going to get rid of Bossing Say here. And this is, again, to play around Quench. That's why we hit our land drop first. Now, we could bring out the Tunnel, or we could have untapped lands by sacking the Passage. We already did 1 land drop, so this would give us 2 more forests, which I believe lets me cast the Nursery, but it would get quenched. And the Badger Mole Cub would also get dealt with. So I'm just going to play this Escape Tunnel. And they're going to kill this Explorer because that's what they do. Do I want to mill another card? We have one Esper Origins in the deck. I might as well. I guess we'll mill 2 more cards. It reduces our landfall triggers quite a bit, but now we get the Badger Mole Cub. Or do we? They can still quench it. Okay, well, then I guess I hold. My landfalls. Haha! Well, whatever happens the rest of this game, we got him on that one. Played around it. It is nothing to be super proud of, I promise. Wow, they are a land destruction deck. My mind is blown. Is that what they're running instead of Monument? I guess so. Well, I think this is where we try to get them good with the various tree folk type strategies. Let's go, Cub. That Fabled Passage top deck was huge. They just can't stop killing my cover. Tree folk and forests gain indestructible, you say. None of those are a Badger Mole Cub. All right. Sack this, gets another tree folk, and it returns, so that gets another tree folk. And we can save that until their turn. We need an army of indestructible tree folk to fix our problem. And maybe we can draw another Fabled Passage or an Ice-Till Explorer to get back a Fabled Passage, or just something that puts more land into play and go from there. This has reach. Interesting. So there is a lesson. Yeah, there it is. Price of Freedom. Destroy target artifact or land. They did. This is an enchantment, so that works in my favor. If it were an artifact, the Price of Freedom would be a... Oh! They drew all those cards. And then they ran into the Reachy tree folk. And now they're sad. Did I have fun? Okay, it was not fun for a long time. Then out of nowhere, it was really fun. Oh yeah, we got the Chocobo on the play. The one of Glimpse the Core, the Badger Mole Cub. This is gonna be a fun one. Depending how much removal our opponent runs, we might just get them. A mountain. That usually means a dead bird. Not yet, it doesn't. Okay. Activate. And then they kill it. Awesome. Okay, do we play Cub here? I think we Glimpse the Core, and next turn we can Cub the Escape Tunnel. It's an interesting deck in that you really want to set up a lot of landfall triggers at once. And our opponent appears to be playing good old mono red, which I think means we actually just cast a Harmonizer. Yeah, I'm doing it. It's a 4/4. It's a big 4/4. And then next turn can be Escape Tunnel. It can be a 16 in no time. If they attack, we don't block because we don't want them to kill it. Okay, never mind, we do because they tap their mana. They just go in with a Hellkite. Yeah. I mean, are we double harmonizing? We can force them to block. That's pretty good. Let's do it. They don't have much time. You better block, or you're gonna die. There we go. Okay, mono red. They only wish they could do that much damage on turn 4. How are you gonna handle double harmonizers? I don't think they can. Okay. Another Hellkite is coming at me. This is another reason not to play the Badger Mole Cub and animate a land, because the Hellkite can pick the land off pretty easily. So I like our decision to glimpse the core. It looks like it's working out very nicely. And they just have to hope I don't have the land. I have the land. I have so many land. So we'll start here. Bang, bang. We'll play this cub. We'll earthbend this escape tunnel. Which one you want? Uh-huh. So one is unblocked. So we sacrifice this. And we will hit the opponent for an impressive number, which is 128. Yes. Yes. They thought they were the aggro deck, and they were wrong. We are on the play with a Llanowar Elf, but it doesn't come out on turn 1. It's one of the potential problems that this deck can have. So what do we do? I mean, 2 harmonizers isn't particularly great, but Llanowar Elf is great. I think I have to try for better. I think I have to. That said, it solves a lot of problems. It's slow, but it's not the end of the world. Mulligan, 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 mulligan. All right, keep this. Put one of these forests away. And we have Llanowar Elf on turn 1. As the deck intends to do. And then our opponent has it as well. Earthbender Ascension Rip right off the top feels nice. Let's play the Vein. This is where the Vein is really good, because it's one of these fetch lands that can tap for mana, so we can use it to Earthbend, which can create more land drops in the future. You sack it and search your library for a basic and put it onto the battlefield tapped. So that can create a lot of landfall triggers. Our opponent's doing the exact same thing, except we have the promising Vein Earthbent and they don't. Let's see if that pays off. Another Llanowar Elf. So here is where we are already getting spicy. What do we do with you? I think we just want to get up to nursery level as quickly as possible, but we can do it on their turn. We don't have to do it on ours, unless we want the Surveil from the Origins to count for something. And yeah, that could be the thing, right? You want your Origin Surveil to matter, so I'm just going to do this now. Vein comes back. We have to shuffle. Play this land. Now we can pump the Elf, cast the Origins, bin these forests. I mean, I guess I want a forest for next turn, don't I? For the nursery? Yeah, I guess I do. And drop this Elf. We are going to have mana, and we will have Tree Folk. Oh yes, there will be Tree Folk. I wonder, let's see, if I had kept, so we want to play this for 4, then it's 4 mana to use the Origins. If I had kept both forests on top, the Origins could have flashed back to also get another trigger. Ooh, the green shell. They're running the green shell. This is a bit of a combo with the nursery, and it can go crazy. Our opponent's deck might be far more ambitious than ours. This is a best of one thing if ever I've run into one. Okay, let's go to work. There's a tree folk. Let's bring out the origin, see if there's a land on top. I don't think the chocobo is what we need right now. Still not quite powerful enough. And now I have a fabled passage in the future, as the tree folk party is about to begin. But do they have the... Oh no. Like I said, their deck might be more ambitious than mine. So every time a tree folk enters, it triggers the green shell, which can get another land off the top to trigger the nursery. And the reason this doesn't get played at the pro level is because green shell is a 5-mana card that dies to a lot of the removal spells in the game. So that's why I say it's ambitious. But in the mono green mirror, nothing's gonna kill this, and the opponent is just never gonna stop. So we need to draw Mightform Harmonizer. That's like, it's the only thing that could help us, and that's assuming that this does run out of gas at some point, which it might not do. It can keep going for a very long time, and there you go. We drew it. We literally just top decked it. Well, okay. I don't even think I warp it here because I have plenty of mana. So when we play this passage, we are committing to some extent over on what we are putting the counters on. So why not you? How big can this get? It's gonna need to be a lot. But they scoop because they don't even want to find out. So this is 10. Promising Vein is 11, 22. Fabled Passage, 23. I don't think it's that big, right? Did they just panic? Because I'm looking at this, right? Promising Vein, land, +1/+1 counter, 22. Fabled Passage, land, +1/+1 counter, 23, 66. This 7, 8, 15, 23. Oh, yeah. 66 is enough. It's not 128, but it's enough. We are on the draw with a lot of ramp. If the opponent is a removal deck, this is a good hand. If they are a curve out creature deck, we're on the draw, and it was going to be a hard game anyway, but this doesn't do it. I am going to keep it. We played a lot of removal decks. A lot of Burst Lightning's been showing up. And we'll save the fetch lands to Earthbend on too. And it's mono red. Okay, well, let's see what happens. Our hand is not quick, and our opponent's deck is made to go quick. Ouch. Double Needlehead, so every draw is 2 damage. Don't like that very much. Let's play the Ascension. Put the counters on the passage. Now we have a blocker for next turn. And we start to get triggers on our Earthbender's Ascension. And this might get close. Having the blocker does save us some life. The blue mana in their deck is usually just for a Scalding Viper, which is the adventure side. Like, there's no real downside to having the Verges because they're just like a mountain. All right, we block first. We sack into Earthbend before damage. Yeah, this is going to be online very quickly, but we need another turn. So let's see what kind of pressure they put on us. Hexing Squelcher doesn't bother us much. And a Viper, which says whenever an opponent casts a spell 3 or less. Interesting. Can we avoid spells 3 or less? We have the Nursery here. The Earthbender's Ascension is what would hurt us. But I think if we just get the Nursery out, we really go off here. We can even play a Harmonizer this turn if we want to. Can we win? If we play an Ascension, that's 1, 2, 3. Earthbend here. Hit land drop. So play this. This is now a land. Hit land drop, Harmonizer. Nope. We would have to play Harmonizer first, and right now we don't have a creature. Very close, but not it. So let's play Nursery and keep from being attacked. But do I play the Ascension? I don't think so. I think we just focus on the Tree Folk. If we play the Ascension, it is 1 damage. That 1 damage could be everything. And this is 3 Tree Folks? Okay, never mind. We do it. Because we'll take 2 damage from an all-out attack because we won't have enough Tree Folks to block with. So we take this damage. So we actually take less damage, though, because of that. Because now we have way more Tree Folk. All right, +1/+1 counters here. We could make 2 more, but we'll just hold that up as a surprise. And we have shored up the ground and the air because of reach. And next turn, because of Ascension, the Harmonizer will get its work done. They play a Hellkite. If they attack, we make more Tree Folk. The bow means they have reach. Just okay. I guess they can burn one. I'll just go here. More Tree Folk and bigger Tree Folk. I'm not really worried about one of them getting shocked, but it's fine. So, dead Hellkite? Yeah. And they pass. This draw does hurt, but we're fine. I cast Mightform Harmonizer. Yeah, they know what's about to happen. I would like to see the funny number, though. Well, there you have it, the most represented meta deck of Arena Championship 11. Unlike big stompy decks of card games past, this one requires a lot of setup and calculation, but what I love most about it is A, the rewarding feeling of getting it right, and B, the extra rewarding feeling of hitting the face for incredibly funny numbers. You make silly amounts of Tree Folk. You hit for silly numbers of power with Mightform Harmonizer. It's a very fun deck when you pay it off and do it right. So thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, remember to hit like, hit subscribe, and also check out the deck list link in the description so you can see all of the beautiful cards displayed and maybe play them on Arena yourself. And remember to watch Arena Championship 11, which will be streaming this weekend. This has been me, CGB, and I'll see you in the arena.